can go on.
Get one of your boys to come over here, your monkey boys.
It's not that easy. Listen, I just couldn't do it. You're crazy!
It's a big chunk of your life, a year. So you've been here for a year.
Yeah.
With your dirty ass feet.
I'm crazy to tell you.
Yeah, obviously you've learned a lot.
I've given all my other clothes to the workers. So.
Okay, so let's talk about, tell me about your year.
I arrived in Tzaneen, South Africa, in late September of 2011. This is me, sitting in the back of the pickup truck as they drove me to the monkey sanctuary where I'd work for the next 12 months. I had my own little cabin in the woods, which I soon called home. This was shot on my leaving day, where I'd sorted all my belongings to give to the local workers. It definitely wasn't always this clean. It even came with my own little garden area. Later I built an eco shower, some gym equipment, and even a hammock. The volunteers were really welcoming at the sanctuary. This is the community area where all the volunteers would hang out together, particularly in the evenings. This is inside the communal area where all the food was prepared and the volunteers would eat together.
Like totally making a video. Susan!
Susan's one of the local workers. She cooked all our meals, which is sometimes up to 40 people or more. She did a great job.
How's it going, people?
This is where the food for over 500 monkeys was prepared and sorted. It needed teamwork between the local workers and volunteers to get everything finished each day. Materials and resources were scarce, but we made do with what we had.
Innocent, mama. What you doing in the tool shed?
This is a sick bay area where we'd rehabilitate any injured or sick monkeys.
Which boy, Atty? What will you do? Hi, Brown buddy, I'm gonna miss you. I know you're probably not gonna miss me just quite as much, but I feel we had a connection, you know? Good boy.
There was an incredible atmosphere around the sanctuary. Everyone was here from all corners of the world for the same reason, which was to help these animals. And boy did they need it. The sanctuary housed almost 600 monkeys, all with their own problems and issues, ranging from humanisation to missing limbs and everything in between. And this was all caused by human hand, pets that were no longer wanted, or wild monkeys that had wandered too close to someone's farm in search for food. The majority of the monkeys were integrated into troops, which lived in large, open, multi-hectare enclosures. But for some individuals this just wasn't possible. Some had problems that may never be fixed.
Can't steal anything from the
Every year during the birthing season we would receive more and more orphans. Although incredible to look after these guys, everyone was aware what a new orphan meant. One mother that had been shot by a farmer, hit by a car, or caught in a snare. Thankfully the sanctuary had some really solid techniques at quickly rehabilitating these orphans, getting them to a monkey foster mother so that they could live out the rest of their lives as naturally as possible. As well as working at the sanctuary, I had some pretty awesome adventures travelling around South Africa. I shot this the day I arrived when we went looking for seed pods on the mountain to hand out to the monkeys. I also visited Cape Town. Taught at local schools. I pretty much saw it all. Regardless of the weather. Rode elephants. But I also visited many sanctuaries in the surrounding area, not just primate ones either. Wherever I went it was always the same thing. These sanctuaries were filled with compassionate volunteers, many of which had chosen to dedicate their entire lives to helping wildlife. And they were brilliant. Their enthusiasm was overwhelming. I truly admired them. But many of these sanctuaries had reached capacity. With limited resources and manpower, even with the best will in the world, they truly were stretched. And it's because the sanctuaries can never really fix the problem. Their techniques are improving, their understanding of natural behaviours and needs are advancing, rehabilitating and breeding techniques are becoming more successful. But it's all a quick fix, a temporary solution. We don't want to make room for these guys in the world anymore. They've become nothing more than an inconvenience to us. No matter how hard these sanctuaries work, how well they can rehabilitate and breed these animals and prepare them for life in the wild, it's meaningless because there is nowhere for them to go anymore. I strongly suggest getting out there, seeing as much of nature as possible while you still can, because at this rate, it's not going to be there for much longer. If there's any hope for these guys in the future, we need to change. We need to realise they're as much a part of the world as we are. And who are we to take everything from them? Nowadays everyone's too caught up in their own material possessions. We've lost sight of what's important. We've lost our compassion. Despite my bittersweet experience working at and visiting neighbouring sanctuaries, I had an incredible year.
How's it going, Mickey?
Also, I think people don't realise that it's what you don't do, what you don't try that you'll regret. It's about the adventures you take, the mistakes you make, the friendships you discover along the way. If everyone could just live in the moment that little bit more. We're all here on this planet, this world together. Just get out there, see it all, live it. If you've got a dream, an ambition, whatever it is, you're the only thing that's holding you back. I had an amazing year, which I'll never forget.